All right, get ready, because we're going deep today.
Deep into the world of quantum-resistant blockchains.
Yeah, and we've got a great guide for this journey. Jorgo Schneppert and his essay, Quantensischer Blockchain, Zukunftssteuer Technology.
It's a fascinating look at how quantum computers could really shake things up in the blockchain space.
So for everyone listening, think of this as your crash course on how blockchain can not just survive, but actually thrive in the age of quantum computing.
Schneppert starts by laying out the basics, reminding us what makes blockchain so revolutionary in the first place.
The whole idea of decentralization, immutability, and transparency.
Right, those core principles that make blockchains so disruptive.
And he uses Bitcoin and Ethereum as prime examples.
Even though they serve different purposes, Bitcoin with its focus on digital currency and Ethereum with its smart contracts,
they both rely heavily on cryptography for their security.
And that's where quantum computing throws a wrench into the works.
Because the cryptography we use today was designed for our good old-fashioned computers, not these super-powered quantum machines.
Exactly. Schneppert really dives into how these quantum computers operate.
With their qubits and superposition and entanglement, it's like a whole different ballgame.
It really is. And he explains how Shor's algorithm, running on a powerful enough quantum computer, could crack the encryption we rely on today.
So someone could potentially forge transactions, manipulate data. It's a bit unsettling.
It is a serious threat, but Schneppert doesn't just leave us hanging.
He explores the potential solutions, starting with post-quantum cryptography, or PQC.
PQC is all about developing new cryptographic algorithms that can resist attacks from both classical and quantum computers.
So it's like future-proofing our security systems, right?
Exactly. And Schneppert breaks down the different approaches being researched.
Like lattice-based, code-based, multivariate, polynomial cryptography. There's a whole alphabet soup of options.
There is. And he even highlights Kyber, a lattice-based cryptography example, as a potential frontrunner for standardization.
Standardization is key here, right? We need a unified approach to quantum resistance if we want blockchain to thrive.
Absolutely. But Schneppert emphasizes that simply swapping out the old cryptography for new algorithms might not be enough.
We might need to rethink the very architecture of blockchains.
He's talking about adapting things like consensus mechanisms, network security, even smart contracts. It's a multifaceted challenge.
Okay, so it's not just about changing the locks. We might need to redesign the whole building.
That's a great analogy. And he points to projects like the Quantum Resistant Ledger, or QRL, as an example of this.
So QRL is out there on the front lines trying to build a blockchain specifically designed to be quantum resistant.
Exactly. And Schneppert analyzes how QRL uses a novel hash function that's resistant to known quantum attacks.
But he also acknowledges that this can lead to compatibility issues with the existing systems.
It's a trade-off, and he discusses how established platforms like Hyperledger and Ethereum are exploring different paths,
trying to figure out how to integrate quantum resistance into their existing frameworks.
It's exciting to see this mix of new projects and established players all wrestling with this challenge.
So there's no one-size-fits-all solution. It's more like a quantum puzzle with many pieces.
Schneppert really drives that point home.
He emphasizes that transitioning to quantum-resistant blockchains is a complex process with various challenges. From technical hurdles to community acceptance, it's not going to be easy.
But Schneppert doesn't just lay out the problems. He offers potential strategies for migration.
Like using hybrid solutions for a more gradual transition, or hard forks for a clean break, though they could be tricky with community consensus.
And of course, we can't ignore the economic implications.
Schneppert acknowledges that these transitions could be quite costly.
And there's always a risk of fragmentation if different platforms adopt different approaches.
So there are definitely some risks involved in all of this.
There are, but Schneppert also sees tremendous potential for innovation.
It's like any major technological shift. It comes with challenges, but also incredible opportunities.
Exactly. And Schneppert really encourages us to think big, to imagine the possibilities that quantum-resistant blockchains could unlock.
So how does Schneppert suggest we tackle this massive task of making blockchain quantum ready?
Well, he emphasizes a multi-pronged approach, and it starts with addressing those architectural changes we talked about, like consensus mechanisms.
Right, because if someone can crack the code and manipulate the consensus, the whole system crumbles.
Precisely. For proof of work, which relies heavily on hashing, Schneppat suggests exploring quantum-resistant hash functions.
And what about proof of stake, where security hinges on digital signatures?
He argues that those signatures need to be upgraded to quantum-resistant versions as well.
So it's not just about tweaking existing systems, it might require inventing entirely new ones.
That's right. Schneppat really stresses that this is about reimagining the very foundations of blockchain security.
And then there's network security to consider, all those communications between blockchain nodes.
Schneppat emphasizes that we need quantum-resistant encryption in all those protocols.
So it's not just about securing the individual blocks, it's about securing the entire network.
He even mentions quantum key distribution, or QKD, as a potential long-term solution.
QKD, that sounds like something straight out of Star Trek.
It kind of is. It uses quantum mechanics to distribute encryption keys in a way that's virtually unbreakable, though it does face challenges like specialized hardware requirements.
Okay, so we've got consensus mechanisms, network security. What about smart contracts?
Smart contracts are crucial, and Schneppat dives into the need to adapt the programming languages to support quantum-resistant cryptography.
It seems like everything needs a quantum-resistant makeover.
That's the reality we're facing, but Schneppat's essay shows us that it's not an insurmountable challenge.
He analyzes real-world projects like QRL, showing how quantum resistance is being implemented in practice.
And he also explores how platforms like Hyperledger are integrating post-quantum cryptography, and even touches on Ethereum's plans to adapt to the quantum era.
So we're already seeing concrete examples of this transition in action.
We are, and what's really helpful is that Schneppat doesn't just describe these projects, he critically analyzes them.
He highlights both their strengths and weaknesses, giving us a realistic view of the complexities involved. So we've covered a lot of ground, from the basics of blockchain and quantum computing to the potential threats and the promising solutions. But migrating entire blockchain networks to these quantum-resistant systems, that sounds like a monumental undertaking.
It is a massive challenge, but Schneppat dives into some practical strategies.
Like hybrid solutions, hard forks, layered approaches, he lays out the options.
He talks about the need for backward compatibility.
Making sure that new systems can still interact with older ones, that makes sense.
And he emphasizes the importance of community acceptance.
You can't just force these changes on people. You need buy-in from users and developers.
And then there's the question of cost.
Implementing all these changes will require resources, and we need to consider the economic impact. So it's not just a technological challenge, it's a social and economic one as well.
Precisely. And Schneppat underscores the importance of standardization and regulation in all of this.
So it's not just up to the tech industry to figure this out. Governments and regulatory bodies have a role to play.
Schneppat mentions the NIST Post-Quantum Cryptography Initiative, which is working towards establishing standards for these new algorithms.
That's crucial because we need interoperability between different blockchain systems.
He also talks about the need for legal frameworks that address the unique challenges posed by quantum-resistant technologies.
Especially in areas like data privacy and security. This has implications far beyond just the tech world.
It does, and that's what makes this whole discussion so fascinating. It's about technology, yes, but it's also about the future of finance, data security, even governance.
It's about shaping the future of the digital world.
And it raises some really important questions.
Like what?
Well, for example, how do we ensure that the transition to quantum-resistant blockchains is equitable? How do we balance the need for security with other values like privacy and decentralization? And how do we foster international collaboration to tackle these global challenges?
Those are some big questions, and it sounds like Schneppat is ultimately optimistic about the future of blockchain in this quantum world.
He is. He sees the development of these quantum-resistant technologies as a necessary step in the evolution of blockchain.
And he believes that this evolution will lead to even more secure, robust, and innovative applications. It's exciting to think about the possibilities.
It really is. And Schneppat doesn't just focus on the technical aspects. He also explores the broader implications of these quantum-resistant blockchains.
He connects the dots between the technology and its impact on the world, which is what I love about his work.
He talks about the potential impact on data privacy, security, and trust.
He even ties it back to regulations like GDPR, arguing that these new blockchains could be key to meeting those requirements.
And he goes further, suggesting that these technologies could actually increase our confidence in digital systems as a whole.
If we know that our blockchains are quantum-proof, it could boost trust in all sorts of digital systems, from currencies to voting.
Exactly. And then there's the economic side of things.
Schneppet doesn't shy away from those implications either.
He acknowledges that the transition could be costly, and there's that risk of fragmentation.
But he also sees the potential for incredible innovation.
He envisions entirely new economic ecosystems emerging, built on this foundation of security and trust.
It's like any major technological shift. It comes with its share of challenges, but also opens up new frontiers.
Exactly. And Schneppet really encourages us to think big, to embrace those possibilities.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Schneppet's essay, what would you say are the key takeaways?
I think Schneppet paints a clear picture of a future where blockchain not only survives the quantum revolution, but actually thrives.
He's giving us a call to action.
To start preparing for this new reality now.
And that preparation involves much more than just tweaking a few algorithms, right?
Absolutely. It requires a fundamental shift in how we approach blockchain security.
From those consensus mechanisms to network infrastructure, even languages we use to write smart contracts. It's a holistic endeavor.
And it's not just the tech experts who need to be involved.
Schneppet emphasizes the need for collaboration between researchers, developers, policymakers, even the wider public. Everyone has a role to play.
It's about having those conversations about the societal and economic implications, ensuring that this transition benefits everyone.
Well said. So Schneppet's essay, Quantenses Blockchain, Zukunftsliche Technology, is a must-read for anyone interested in the future of blockchain.
It's insightful, thought-provoking, and surprisingly, quite accessible.
Even if you're not a cryptography expert, he breaks down these complex concepts and makes them relatable.
He really does. So where do we go from here?
Schneppet leaves us with this rather provocative thought. He suggests that quantum computers themselves could become integral parts of future blockchains.
That's right. He hints at the possibility of quantum blockchains, where these powerful machines are not just a threat, but a tool for enhancement, for creating entirely new possibilities.
It's like we're blurring the lines between blockchain and quantum computing, entering this new era of exploration.
And Schneppet, as always, is at the forefront, pushing us to think beyond the obvious, to embrace the potential of this quantum future.
On that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into this fascinating essay by Yorgo Schneppet.
It's a future filled with both challenges and opportunities.
And Schneppet's work helps us navigate this uncharted territory, providing a roadmap for what lies ahead.
His insights emphasize a crucial point. The development of quantum-resistant blockchain technologies is a marathon, not a sprint.
It requires ongoing research, collaboration, and adaptation to ensure long-term security and maintain the trust that blockchain is built upon.
It's a process of continuous evolution, and we all need to be ready to adapt as the technology itself evolves.
And it's a process that needs everyone's engagement.
From questioning assumptions to contributing to building a future where blockchain technology can reach its full potential.
Well said. A big thank you to you for joining us on this deep dive into Yorgo Schneppet's work.
The pleasure was all mine.
And to everyone listening, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible with blockchain technology. The quantum future is coming, and it's up to all of us to shape it.
I couldn't agree more.
That's a fantastic point to end on. Thanks again for listening to The Deep Dive.
It really is. And you know what's great about Yorgo Schneppet's work is that he doesn't just stop at the technical stuff.
Right.
He goes a step further and explores the larger societal and economic implications of these quantum-resistant blockchains.
I think that's what makes Schneppet's essay so interesting. It's not just about the tech itself, it's about the real-world impact.
Exactly. So, for instance, he digs into how these technologies could completely change how we think about data privacy, security, and even trust itself.
It's like he's saying, okay, if our data is potentially vulnerable to these quantum attacks, which, let's face it, it is, then we need even stronger safeguards.
We absolutely do, and quantum-resistant blockchains could be a big part of the solution. Schneppet even connects us back to regulations like GDPR.
Oh, interesting.
And suggests that these new types of blockchains could be crucial in meeting those requirements.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, if we can prove that our blockchains are truly quantum-proof, wouldn't that just boost trust in all sorts of digital systems?
Absolutely. Think about it. Digital currencies, online voting, even sensitive medical records, all protected by quantum-resistant blockchains.
That would be a huge leap forward for trust in the digital world.
Yeah.
But Schneppet also dives into the economic implications, right?
He does, and he doesn't shy away from the potential downsides. He acknowledges that transitioning to these quantum-resistant blockchains could be, well, pretty expensive.
Sure.
And there's always that risk of fragmentation if different platforms decide to go with different approaches.
So like with any major technological shift, there are inherent risks and challenges.
For sure. But Schneepat also highlights the incredible potential for innovation here. He sees this as a chance for entirely new economic ecosystems to emerge, built on this foundation of robust security and unshakable trust.
So it's not all doom and gloom. There's a silver lining to this quantum cloud.
Definitely. And Schneepat really encourages us to, think big here, to really imagine the possibilities that quantum-resistant blockchains could unlock.
So as we're wrapping up our deep dive into Schneepat's work, what would you say are the key takeaways?
I think Schneepat does a fantastic job of painting this picture of a future where blockchain not only survives the quantum revolution, but actually thrives in it. It's like he's issuing a call to action.
A call to start preparing for this new reality right now.
Right. And that preparation, it goes way beyond just tweaking a few algorithms here and there, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It sounds like we're talking about a fundamental shift in how we approach blockchain security at every level.
Exactly. From those consensus mechanisms to the underlying network infrastructure, even the languages we use to write smart contracts, it's a holistic endeavor.
It sounds like a total overhaul of the system.
In a way, it is. And Schneepat stresses that this isn't just a job for the tech experts, He calls for collaboration across disciplines, researchers, developers, policymakers, even the general public.
So we all have a role to play in shaping this quantum-resistant future.
We do. And I think those conversations about the societal and economic impacts are absolutely crucial to ensure that this transition benefits everyone.
Well said. Schneepat's essay, Quantensicher Blockchain, Zukunftssicher Technology. It's a must-read for anyone who's interested in the future of blockchain.
I completely agree. It's thought-provoking and, surprisingly accessible.
Even if you're not a cryptography whiz.
Exactly. Schneepat breaks down these really complex concepts and makes them relatable to anyone.
So where do we go from here? What's next?
Well, Schneepat leaves us with a pretty thought-provoking question. He suggests that quantum computers themselves could actually become, a part of future blockchains.
That's a wild idea.
Yeah. He hints at the possibility of, quantum blockchains, where these powerful quantum computers are not the enemy, but actually a tool. A tool to enhance blockchain, to create completely new possibilities that we haven't even thought of yet.
It's almost as if the line between blockchain and quantum computing is starting to blur.
And Schneepat, in true Schneepat fashion, he's at the forefront, pushing us to think beyond the obvious and really embrace the potential of this quantum future.
Okay, on that incredibly inspiring note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into this fascinating essay by Jurgo Schneepat.
It's a future with a lot of unknowns, that's for sure.
But Schneepat's essay does a great job of kind of mapping out the territory.
It gives us a sense of the challenges and the opportunities that lie ahead.
And he reminds us that this isn't just about reacting to some distant threat. It's about actively shaping the future of blockchain.
We're not just waiting for the quantum revolution to happen, we're preparing for it.
Exactly. And a big part of that preparation is understanding that this isn't a one-time fix, it's an ongoing process.
He makes that point really clear. The development of these quantum-resistant technologies is a marathon, not a sprint.
It requires continuous research, collaboration, a willingness to adapt.
It's not about finding the one perfect solution. It's about constantly evolving as the technology evolves.
And he stresses that the success of blockchain in this quantum age depends on the entire community.
Not just the tech experts, but researchers, developers, policymakers, even the general public.
Everyone needs to be involved, engaged in the conversation.
We need to be asking questions, challenging assumptions, contributing to a future where blockchain technology can reach its full potential.
It's really inspiring to think about.
It is, and I think Schneepat's essay really captures that sense of, excitement and possibility.
This deep dive into Jurgo Schneepat's work has been really enlightening, and I have to say I'm feeling pretty optimistic about the future.
I am too. I think Schneepat's essay, Quantensicher Blockchain, Zukunftssicher Technology, is essential reading for anyone interested in where blockchain is headed.
It's insightful, it's thought-provoking, and honestly, it's surprisingly easy to understand.
Even if you're not a cryptography expert, Schneepat does a fantastic job of explaining these complex concepts in a way that anyone can grasp.
So to everyone listening, I highly recommend checking it out.
It will definitely give you a lot to think about.
And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive. A huge thank you to you for joining us on this journey into the world of quantum-resistant blockchains.
It's been a pleasure.
To all our listeners, thanks for tuning in. We hope this has sparked your curiosity and maybe even a little bit of that excitement for the quantum future that's coming our way. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Thanks for listening.